The Exile of Rama. Night had barely yielded to a pale saffron dawn when Ayodhya woke to the sound of garlands being shaken free of dew. Courtyards filled with the smell of fresh sandalwood paste. Gold-threaded canopies were tested for balance. Musicians tuned long, low notes that promised regal splendor. News had flown faster than cranes. Rama would be consecrated heir that very day. The city's joy felt like a single great breath held gratefully in the chest of the people. Inside the women's wing, a different breath was ripening, tight, restless. Queen Kayakesi, she whom the king once called battle companion for reasons few outside the inner court remembered, sat before a polished bronze mirror. Nearby moved her humpbacked attendant, Manthara, eyes sharp as hooked needles, mind already weaving shadows across the bright tapestry outside. "See how they hurry?" Manthara murmured. "All for a son not yours. Once crowned, Rama's grace will be praised without end. Where then will Bharata's share of the sun fall? In after years, will people even speak his name? Roots shrink in shade, my queen." Kayakesi's fingers froze over a tray of unfastened bangles. It was not hatred she felt. There had never been true bitterness toward Rama, but a sudden, chilling thought of being edged out of the living story of the realm. Manthara saw the soft place and pressed. Did the king not once, on the blood-slick field when his chariot axle snapped, promise you 2 boons if you saved him? Did you not steady the wheel with your own arm until victory was secured? Debts ripen. If not plucked, they rot. Memory flared, storm-dark sky, the iron smell of war, Dasharatha's grateful eyes, his oath, the warm ache in Kayakesi's shoulder from holding the fractured chariot assembly. The attendant's words, wrapping that memory, seemed less like temptation than a legal summons. "What would you have me do?" Kayakesi asked, voice low. "Ask what is already owed," Manthara replied silkily. "Let Bharata be named heir. Send Rama to the forest. Not slain, no stain on you, only absent. 14 years, long enough for roots to fix." Kayakesi hesitated. A tremor of conscience skimmed her heart like a swallow across a pond. Then the image of a coronation unfolding without her blood enthroned hardened her resolve. She entered the chamber of the king. Dasharatha, heavy with age, yet alight with anticipation, welcomed her with open warmth. "Tell me a wish," he said expansively. "This day my heart is too full for denial." "You swore me 2 boons," Kayakesi answered, sinking deliberately to the floor. "I claim them now. First, let Bharata be installed as heir instead of Rama. Second, let Rama go into forest exile for 14 years, clothed in bark, renouncing all royal claim until his return." Dasharatha's face collapsed, as though a hidden pillar had been knocked from beneath him. Words broke in his throat. Silence, raw and jagged, filled the chamber. Rama was summoned. He entered with the tranquil gait of one answering an ordinary call. The king could barely speak. Kayakesi's voice, brittle, delivered the decree. Rama listened. His eyes, clear, deep, did not flare with outrage. "Mother," he said, for he honored all his father's queens as mothers. "Your granted boon shall be my path. Father's word must stand taller than my comfort." He bowed, touching Dasharatha's feet. The old king's hands shook upon his son's head, clutching, then loosening like a man letting go of the very mast of a storm-racked ship. Outside, once the news flickered through corridors, Lakshmana's fury rose bright and quick. "Injustice," he hissed. "I will fend off any who seek to drive you out." Rama's glance steadied him. "Brother, no fire upon fire. Our task is to keep the king's promise from turning to poison inside him. We accept. Anger will not sweeten exile." Sita heard next. Without waiting for persuasion, she said simply, "Where you dwell is Ayodhya to me. Do not speak of leaving me behind." Rama, knowing the iron in her gentle tone, did not protest long. He tried only once to spare her hardship. She answered with a vow forged of loyalty and quiet strength. The matter was settled. They prepared. Silk exchanged for bark cloth, jewels set aside like yesterday's bright rain. Before they could depart, word arrived. Bharata was returning from his stay in his grandfather's distant land. The city, divided between awe at Rama's obedience and outrage at the decree, held its breath again for what the absent son would declare. Bharata arrived to a palace whose joy had curdled into muffled weeping. Learning the terms of the boons, he sought his mother. "What have you done?" His voice did not blare. It throbbed, hurt more than anger. "Not for me," Bharata answered. "I would not rule a throne hollowed by a broken promise and a father's tears." He went at once to Rama's quarters, only to find them already being emptied. On the southern gate road, beneath an arch of aging banyan limbs, Bharata caught up with Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana. Dust motes glimmered in slanting afternoon light, like drifting, undecided thoughts. "Return," Bharata implored. "Let me bear the forest. The throne was never my aspiration." Rama placed both hands upon Bharata's shoulders. "You are needed where we are not. The kingdom must be stewarded by one who rejects unjust gain. That rejection itself purifies the succession." Bharata wrestled within, duty to realm against fierce longing not to let the elder brother vanish into wilderness. In the classical telling, he would have taken only Rama's sandals as proxy. In this living moment, the earlier seed of compassionate restraint sprouted anew in a different shape. "Then," Bharata said, decision crystallizing, "I will accompany you until the boundary where the city's pulse thins, far enough that no courtier can say I stayed to profit, then return, not as king, but as caretaker under your silent reign. Your sandals shall sit upon the throne. I will rule only in your name." Rama accepted the compromise with a nod that held both gratitude and relief. Thus the procession became four once more: Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, and Bharata, moving through thinning clusters of citizens whose laments gradually surrendered to awed quiet at the dignity of what they witnessed.